Good day. Welcome to the Great White North. You are a photographer. You're a cinematographer. You shoot destination weddings or travel vlogs. If you go places and you bring gear with you, the best way to keep it safe and not damaged, arguably, is a hard case. And there are quite a few hard case options to choose from. What I have here are probably one of the most two popular options. We have a Pelican 1510 and a Nanuk 935. And they represent each manufacturer's probably their most popular case, as they're the biggest allowable size cases that are allowed on a commercial flight in your carry-on luggage, so above or below. In this video, we're going to look at what makes each of these cases different from each other, and why one of them, in my opinion, is a clear winner. Beginning with the exterior of these cases, the Pelican uses an old school single piece of plastic latch. It is old school in its design, but it's good. It's not amazing. It is so loud. That is definitely its single biggest downfall. It is incredibly loud to open and close. If you're walking into a city council meeting 30 minutes late and you need to set up your DeGiro, this is going to let all of city council know that you're there. If you're a wildlife cinematographer and you need a longer lens, your subject is gone when you're trying to get to the lens that's inside this case. In smaller series Pelican cases, the design of this latch doesn't scale very well, and it becomes quite thin. In a few cases, I've had smaller Pelican cases actually have the latch break. Now, the Nanuk uses a kind of a newer design that is better in a few ways. It's multi-piece. Oh, I ate a bug. There are so many bugs. It's multi-piece, which makes it a bit more secure. There are occasions where I've had a Pelican case, one of the latches will pop open during transit. The multi-piece power claw, as Nanuk calls it, they're super secure, and best of all, they're so quiet. Moving along the exterior of these cases, we get to their wheels. Now the 935 of the Nanuk and the 1510 of the Pelican both have rolling wheels, like luggage rolling wheels. This is not the surface to demonstrate the wheels on. It just won't work. To look at the Pelican wheels, we'll talk about that handle later. To look at the Pelican wheels, you will notice one of mine is gone. The Pelican wheels are a hard plastic. They are so noisy if you're rumbling through an airport or any surface that is not perfectly smooth, and it's brittle. After a decade, this wheel is just kind of crumbled. The other one is kind of on the way. In comparison, the wheels on a Nanuk hard case, they're more of an inline skate style wheel. It's a much softer plastic. I prefer this wheel personally. It's much quieter. If you're rolling through an airport, this is going to be just as loud or as quiet as the luggage that belongs to your 4-year-old on the way to Disneyland. You know, the preference for the softer plastic probably has a compromise in that it's not as durable and may not last as long, but that's my preference. Of course, wheels are useless unless you have a luggage or like a rolling luggage handle to make use of them. Fortunately, both of these cases do. On the Pelican, the handle is very easy to deploy. You kind of push this outwards, pull on up. Unfortunately, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. It wiggles a great deal independent of the case. And the biggest flaw is stowing this handle. Once it's out, great, but to put it back, you need two hands or one hand to do two motions. It's not the most streamlined stowage process. In comparison, the Nanuk luggage handle has a button. You depress that, it pulls out. It actually has two stages for those short queens and kings out there. Press it again, it goes all the way. You can just deploy it the whole way. It's pretty easy to do. The best part though is to stow this handle, depress that button, press it all the way down. You don't need to reach down to the case. It's much easier if you're just kind of in a rush. That is a big win in my opinion. In addition to the roller luggage handle, both of these cases have two primary handles. The handles on the Pelican case have a significant flaw, in my opinion, and that is in their tendency to become stuck in their past upright position. So the long side handle here, with a little bit of force, it's really not going anywhere, and that's not really a good thing. If you're trying to slide this case in and out of a vehicle, having this handle stuck in that upright position, it's going to allow the case to get stuck on something. It doesn't slide easily. At the same time, the short side handle, it has the tendency to do the same thing. They're good handles, they're just not amazing. You will also notice with the Pelican case that the handles have a soft rubber underside, but that rubber doesn't wrap around the entire handle. This could be a positive or a negative in your opinion. It definitely allows the handle to last a little longer. You're not having a soft plastic make contact with something, especially if it's stuck in that past upright position. However, it may not be as comfortable as a handle that is fully encompassed with a softer plastic. In comparison, the handles of the Nanuk case and all Nanuk cases, they just have a bit more thought that's gone into them. Looking at the long side handle on this 935, it requires a bit of force to actually deploy. And again, that's a good thing. And it's impossible for it to become stuck past the upright position. Looking at the short side, again, this is very well thought out. It's spring-loaded so that it can't become stuck outwards unwantedly. It's great to have your handles flush to the side of your cases. It's just easier to move them in and out of a vehicle, the overhead compartment of an airplane. There's less things to get stuck, or like hands reaching out to just hold me. Another difference on the exterior of these cases, it's a small one, but it is noticeable, are the lips of the lid. Probably a better word than lips in this instance. You'll notice on the Nanuk, the lid has a lip. So when you close it, it overhangs just a bit. Now that's either a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's an extra layer of protection against dust, debris, unwanted things. It's a bad thing because if you have a cable that's hanging over the edge just slightly, Edward Scissorhands here, that cable is most likely toast. In comparison, looking at there's nothing in that case. Looking at the Pelican case, which has heaps in it, there are no overhanging lips of the lid. It is a flush close, just that O-ring in the gasket, nothing extra there. So, you know, if you're in a dusty environment, somewhere sandy like a beach, it is possible for dust and debris to get in between the lid and the bottom of the case. That covers the exterior of these cases, and as we have all been taught, it really counts what we have inside, or at least we should have been taught that. Both manufacturers offer a few different options for how to stow your gear in their cases, and both of these cases are outfitted with basically the same system, which is padded dividers. This is usually filled with the aperture light, which is being used right now. These padded dividers really are what I believe to be the most flexible solution for any hard case. If you have a giant pile of gear and you only have one hard case, the padded dividers are definitely your best bet. You can rearrange them very easily and they provide ample protection. Oh, hey there, this is not the forest, this is my backyard. And that's because just before hitting upload, I had the chance to play with Pelican's new Trek Pack divider system. And I have a few thoughts. Firstly, Trek Pack dividers are incredibly expensive for what they offer, especially when compared to just regular plain old padded dividers, even from Pelican. And you could make your own very, very easily. Trek Pack dividers are essentially corrugated plastic, like Coroplast of baby kissing politician campaign signs. A bit of this stuff with some self-adhesive EVA foam, and a few bobby pins. It's very simple to do. There are some great videos here on YouTube. Just take a minute and search. The cost is really not the biggest negative. The biggest negative is the measure twice, cut once, maybe even measure 3 times, cut once design of the Trek Pack. And that is if you cut it, there's no making the dividers longer, ever. They can get shorter, certainly, but you can't make them longer. So if you have your camera, your hard case, it's all laid out perfectly, and you upgrade to a larger lens, a different camera body, format, you can't rearrange things as easily. Those are my thoughts. The next option for internal storage organization protection is pre-cut rigid open-celled foam. And that's what I have inside of this. This is a Nanuk 925. So it's a bit smaller than their more popular 935. There's only one primary handle. There's no luggage rolling handle and no wheels, but it looks pretty darn snazzy in olive green. So pre-cut rigid open-celled foam, in my opinion, it is the best system when you're wanting to protect very sensitive equipment. So a remote aircraft like this Mavic 3 Pro, you don't want it moving at all in transit. Now the padded dividers, there's just a little too much wiggle room for something as sensitive as a drone. The tolerances in these pre-cut areas are very, very small. We're talking millimeters. I don't know what that is in inches. Here in the Great White North, we don't play inches, but it's snug enough that it's not going to jostle around and become damaged in transit. The compromise, though, is you are not using all the space of this hard case. And it's a fair trade-off. You really want to protect something, you just lose a bit of the storage. Pelican doesn't make their own pre-cut rigid open-celled foams. I think it's called Drone Hanger. I believe that's a third party, so they do exist. Nanuk makes many configurations for many devices, cameras, lenses, firearms, and if they don't make it already, you can send them whatever equipment you're using, the dimensions, the measurements, and they can make one of these for your Vitamax blender if you're going camping and you really want that smoothie. I think this is just the most fun option as well. You open it up and it's just like, there's your gear. It just screams professionalism, and it really is. You know, if you open your case and you're preparing to go on a trip and you notice, oh crap, there's a battery missing, your gear pre-check list is a lot easier to visualize than layers and layers of gear in padded dividers. Another trade-off, though, is you are stuck with this hardware, with this pre-cut configuration. If you upgrade, like I recently did, I sold an older generation remote aircraft, and I sold the pre-cut foam with it. So I kept the smaller 920 case, which I'll probably just populate with audio gear later. But you really kind of have to keep that in mind. You are going to keep this configuration, this specific hardware, for a long time. One of the more old school options for internal storage in a hard case is pick and pluck foam. It sounds fun, it really isn't that fun. Pick and pluck foam is basically soft open cell foam that has perforations that allow you to remove the little cubes, they're about centimeter cubes, that best allow your equipment to fit in. Pick and pluck foam is great for single pieces of item that you need very well protected, independent of everything else. So binoculars in this one, not something you want bumping into anything else or jostling around within padded dividers too much. Sat phone in this one, it really does a great job of hugging the item, like it's not gonna fall out. It is that tight. Again, I'm losing a great deal of space because it's not really well optimized for this case, but again, a piece of equipment I want kept independent of everything else and easily grabbed. This is the small Pelican case that has that little broken latch because that latch design doesn't scale well to size. The final option for internal storage is a lid organizer. And despite having multiple 935 cases, I only have one fitted with the lid organizer. And that's because it eats a great deal of valuable vertical space within your case. You really can't have items protruding past the top of these padded dividers. It's just going to conflict with what's stored in here. That's made even more abundant or apparent with a laptop. There is a sleeve right here for a laptop. If you put something in there like a laptop or even a book, that is a great deal of vertical space that is now occupied up top. If you have a lens that's poking past the top of these padded dividers, it will bump into this and you won't be able to close your case. It is very helpful, I will say. This kit is decked out kind of as gaffer odds and ends, and being able to keep cables and little bolts and stuff organized is very helpful, especially with padded dividers where those small items could slip underneath. Cool piece of kit, just not something I need multiples of. With most of the physical differences between the Pelican and the Nanuk cases covered, it's worth looking at support. You may not think of support when looking at a hard case, but it does come into play. Now, both Nanuk and Pelican offer a lifetime warranty. However, story time. When the wheel of my 1510 disintegrated, I quickly looked into support, and I was quite saddened to discover that the brokerage, duty, and shipping fees amounted to more than the cost of a new wheel. Now, Pelican does make individual components like wheels, handles, available for resale. Again, shipping those north of the border here in the Great White North is it's a fair chunk of change. So when looking at a hard case, Nanuk was the logical answer for myself because it is a domestic product. When I need support, I'm not shipping across a border. There's no duties and brokerage and annoying import stuff. So yes, I am Canadian. This is a Canadian product, but that really does matter when you need support for a product. A few additional points to address that really shouldn't matter, but they're my experience, so you're going to hear them. The Pelican cases, they do a much better job of allowing stickers to adhere to the surface. The Nanuk cases, their surface is kind of textured, and so stickers, they don't adhere quite as well. Again, it shouldn't matter, but if you like stickers. Another point that doesn't really matter, but it's worth mentioning, is the exterior plastic of the Nanuk case seems to scratch or scuff a little more easily than that of the Pelican. And where it's most apparent or noticeable is on the underside, kind of the short side on the bottom where the wheels are. And this is because when you're rolling it around, easy deployment. When you're rolling it around and you stopped abruptly or quickly and you're on a rough surface, this bottom edge is what makes contact along with the wheels. It's kind of where it rests. So in this case, it is a very rough and kind of beat up edge of the case. So suggestion, Nanuk, in future iterations of these cases, anything that has a wheel luggage system, some sort of reinforcement here would be a grand idea. To wrap things up, the only question that really matters when looking at a hard case is whether one of these cases does a better job of protecting what it has inside than the other. And hopefully the answer is obvious. No, absolutely not. Both cases do a fantastic job of protecting whatever you're storing inside. The secondary question is, one of these cases a better design than the other? I would argue yes, hopefully that's obvious. The Nanuk just feels a bit more refined and modern in most or all of its design components, whereas the trusty old Pelican feels just that. It's a bit old school and dated with its design. Still a great case. I just prefer this one. If you have found this video helpful, hit that like button. If you have a question or a comment, put it down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.